We wanted to move back home to be closer to his family. We decided to go with pods because things were stressful enough.
We weren't sure how long we were going to need storage for, so we needed something that was flexible, and then they can deliver the container to wherever we move to.
We haven't found the perfect house yet, but we're still looking.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here in Florida. I know that the Small Business Administration has had an outsized impact on making sure that our small businesses could continue to thrive. We've seen a small business boom here in Florida with 1.3 million new business applications filed across the country. It's 13.6 billion. It's more than 65% than pre-pandemic levels. And so in order to continue to inspire entrepreneurship, the President's Invest in America agenda is really critical, but it also requires funding. So I'm here with this great representatives from Congress, Representative Soto, Representative Frost from Florida, as well as the Chairwoman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, to announce that the Biden-Harris administration is doing just that in order to make sure our small businesses can connect to the great opportunities as we invest in infrastructure, invest in manufacturing and supply chains, Make in America initiatives, and invest in the clean energy economy of the future, that the small businesses have the capital that they need. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're pleased to announce that we've increased our SBA-backed loans to Latino-owned small businesses by 1.5x. That's going from both in the percent share as well as the volumes. We are seeing instead of 8% of our portfolio, over 12% of our portfolio is now going to Latino-owned small businesses, as they've been starting businesses at the highest rates, 10 times any other group, 20% higher than direct pre-pandemic levels. So it just keeps on growing. They are a much larger share of the percentage of total businesses. So to see those capital gaps finally start to close is critical. There's still a lot more work to do, but this over 7,100 loans that we've given, totaling over $2.8 billion in fiscal year 23 to date, just shows the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to reforms that make a difference. Reforms that mean simpler products that meet our businesses where they are. Reforms that mean that we are broadening the distribution network, so there are no capital deserts anywhere that businesses won't be able to tap into capital. And so pleased to be able to make this announcement with leaders who have been advocating on behalf of our Latino small business owners, as well as all of our small businesses who are taking part of this small business boom and leveraging capital opportunities. And what we know is that for our country to be competitive, for us to go after global trade, for us to be competitive in other markets, we need all of our great entrepreneurs here to thrive. Underinvestment is an injustice to our economy, and so we're pleased to be making this announcement today. Representative Barragán?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, first, let me say thank you so very much to Administrator Guzman for joining us, for being here. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus has been on the road, traveling in different parts of the country, and we just came from a town hall that we did at the University of Central Florida. But to hear today about this trend of lending to Latino communities is right on point, and right on point with what the American people need and what the Congressional Hispanic Caucus has been doing. We're led on the Small Business Committee by our ranking member, Nydia Velasquez. And one of the things that we're continuing to push as the Hispanic Caucus is to do things like strengthen access to capital programs, which we know will only help increase and see more of that trend going to growing Latino businesses, to modernize the entrepreneurial development programs, and of course protect 8A contracting programs, especially for minority-owned businesses. And so this is really great news to hear. We in Congress want to continue to help put money into small business programs, but also, of course, minority development and programs, and making sure that everybody's getting their fair share, especially in our communities of color. So thank you, Administrator Guzman, and with that I will yield to my colleagues to chime in as well.
We are so excited to be here in Central Florida. For reference, we're in Florida's 9th Congressional District, but if we cross the street, we'd be in the 10th. So this is a joint collaboration between Representative Frost and I. Latinas are the fastest growing small business owners in our nation. So I could not think of a better person to lead the SBA, Administrator Casillas Guzman. echoing to Latinos across the nation that we believe in you all in leadership positions to help drive the future. Coming in, the Inflation Reduction Act funding, funding from the infrastructure law, these present a bunch of opportunities for small businesses to apply and to get some of this work. We, in fact, include in a lot of those grants work that our local chambers of Congress specifically utilize to recruit small businesses, especially women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and minority-owned businesses to help participate in these great programs. And also, I just want to extend a personal thank you, Administrator, for the great work your team has done after Hurricane Ian. You all have helped so many in Central Florida rebuild their homes as well as continue their businesses. So welcome to all of you, and I'll leave you all in the able hands of Representative Frost. Thank you so much for being here across the street.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to the administrator for being here today. You know, the administrator and I first met back in March, I believe. We both sat on a panel at South by Southwest, the Music and Innovation Festival, at some restaurant with a ton of young entrepreneurs, and had a conversation about how they can be empowered. And that was an amazing conversation, an amazing panel, and it also highlights the lengths at which this administration will go to meet people where they're at, whether it's a music festival, whether it's here in Central Florida, across the country. So thank you so much for the outreach you're doing to young people, to people of color across the entire nation, because as Congressman Soto mentioned, the fastest growing demographic as far as small businesses are concerned are Latinas, Latinos, Hispanic folks in this country. My mom came here from Cuba in the late 1960s, and what my mom would always tell me is, for Latinos, if we couldn't find a job, we'd make a job. And the job of the SBA is to help ensure that people have the resources and support that they need. I can tell you from this morning, we were visiting an institution that helps folks get resources and learn the trades. We were meeting with people who were excited to start a small business right after collecting the business cards from the administrator's staff and eager to reach out. And so people need the help, they want the help, and the Biden-Harris administration and Administrator Guzman are ready to give people that help. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And is there any questions?
I'll ask a question.
Sure.
So obviously access to capital, really, really important for entrepreneurs. Another thing is, you were mentioning how many new businesses have been founded and that there's this swell, right, and new businesses being started. To keep those businesses going, what is the SBA doing as far as like entrepreneurial support efforts that are teaching foundational business skills?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that, because that is really critical. If you have the right tools and connections and knowledge networks, your success outcomes increase. And so it is why the Biden-Harris administration has expanded our network of on-the-ground support services. We have 1,200 centers coming into the administration. We're now up to over 1,600, thanks to the great funding in the American Rescue Plan, supporting community navigators, people who are on the ground in community, like the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, who is celebrating an event here in Central Florida today, who are one of our navigators. And so this expanded network, and it's been an increase in our Veterans Business Outreach Centers, our Women's Business Centers, as well as our navigators and other grantee supporters. That increased presence will allow us to be able to directly connect and build relationships with these entrepreneurs so they get the skill sets that they need. Because it is, as the president said when we first started, you got to know how to know. And too many businesses were left out of early rounds of COVID relief in 2020 when they didn't know how to know. They didn't have the networks, that CPA on speed dial. So to have the SBA offering free mentorship and services is really the key to that success.
One thing I'd add briefly that we in Congress are looking to help empower the SBA administrator is EIDL loans. Right now there are many local hoteliers, mom and pop tourism shops, among others, that have current EIDL loans from the pandemic that they'll be looking to extend or alter. And so this is going to take Congress to step up to help, but this is something I've heard from small businesses across the nation, and Congress needs to step up to help the administrator on that.
Any other questions?
Administrator, with regards to your tour, what are some of your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, well, in meeting with businesses across the country, I mean, we see that First off, they're starting in all types of industries. And there's at least a third of them are high propensity businesses that are going to create jobs. And what I find from the individual entrepreneurs is there's incredible hope because they do see opportunities to grow their businesses. Many of them were saved with pandemic relief. Had we not saved them, there'd be a massive gap in competition. But as they try to navigate the challenges of the future, affordable credit is still top issue, especially with the tightening credit environment and interest rates at what they are. They need resources and knowledge to be able to make the right decisions to continue to sustain their businesses.
It's time to put yourself first and get the figure you've always wanted with laser liposuction and body sculpting from CMA, Comprehensive Medical Aesthetics. Dr. Rudolph Moise and his experienced staff can transform you in one simple in-office procedure. Localized anesthesia, minimal discomfort, faster recovery. Call CMA today and schedule your free consultation. 786-746-6464. Visit cmaesthetic.com. Begin your transformation. Call CMA today.